Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, he was on the team 20 years ago that helped capture Saddam Hussein. His incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, as you just saw, I was a TV reporter for 25 years, and I'm pretty proud of my television career. I did some cool things. I won some Emmy Awards. I helped free an innocent man from prison. But I don't even deserve to be sitting next to this next guest. Ayman Hatkwa is in studio, and Ayman has the claim to fame that he was on the team that helped capture Saddam Hussein. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
Well, I can't wait to hear this. So you were serving in the Army at the time.
Sir.
And how were you assigned to this team?
Well, I was mobilized as a part of an intelligence linguist unit, and then we were dispersed and assigned to different units as needed. And initially, I was with the 519th Military Intelligence for Tactical Exploitation out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And while working in Kirkuk, I was approached by a couple of big burly bearded guys, and they're like, "You Ayman?" I said, "I confess," and they're like, "If you want a job, we got one for you," and the rest is history, And I went to Task Force 20, which was the initial task force we worked with, and then eventually it became Task Force 121, and Task Force 20 is with actually JSOC, Joint Special Operation Command. And as a soldier, you could imagine it's a dream. It's a kid that goes to Disneyland every day, to actually be among giants of Delta Force and work with these guys. You read stories about them, you hear stories about them, and you sometimes pretend to be them, but in reality now you're in the presence of such great Americans and working at that level. It was a thrill. It was very exciting.
Wow. Okay.
And challenging, no less.
I want to take you back to that day. We've got some old file footage from the day of the capture and the announcement to the media. We're going to roll some of this. Recount kind of the excitement that had to be there when you made that big capture.
Well, it was relief. The capture portion of it is easy. You can imagine we're very talented military, we're very skilled and very strong. So we'd go in there and get the job done. But to actually do all the work to find the location is the challenge. It's exhausting. It's 20-hour days, few hours of sleep. You're back, you're interrogating, you're following up on leads, you're taking new guys down, and you're working all sorts of angles and key personnel, reviewing files. It was really exhausting.
And you got a chance to interrogate Saddam Hussein. What was that like?
It was exciting to be, set aside who he was. But again, it's who he was. He was a head of a state. He's a regional leader, and a historical figure. And here we are, 20 years later, still talking about him.
Sure.
So you can't help but to be in awe,
sure.
in his presence. But still, we had a job to do, and we focused on the job.
What was his demeanor during those first early interrogations?
Well, he was demoralized and he was confused, and I had to prop him up and get him to engage me and earn his trust. to where it got to a point to where he won't eat or drink anything unless I handed it to him. Wow. You know, and that's not because really it's me, it's because of a habit he had. When he gets to a comfort zone with somebody, then he trusts them, then that's all he wants to deal with, you know.
Wow.
And it goes about the kind of life he lived, you know, with the cesspool he lived in.
Sure. Well, you've had at least 2 lives that I know of. You had your military lives, and then after leaving the military, you settled in McKinney.
Correct.
And you talk about a right turn. You went from the military and intelligence to a kind of an upscale cafe.
Yeah, well, you know, when I left the military, I went into security, like I said, and I stayed in that region for another 14 years. And one day I woke up, I was in Syria, and just realized that this is no life for a guy at my age, you know. I need to get out of there, I need to get home. So I resigned, I went back home, and my wife and I picked McKinney. It's a wonderful city, a wonderful state to stay here. And we looked for things to do, and we wanted to be part of the community and entrench ourselves, and we decided to open Yaba Java Cafe.
Okay, we're going to show some video of this, and I want you to tell us what the origin of the name is.
The name comes from, you know, I believe in honoring things that are important. And so when you reflect back, the name Yaba, it's a slang word in Arabic meaning daddy. So I had my first cup of coffee with my dad. You know, I was an early riser since I was a kid. He was always an early riser. So I'd make him a cup, and one day he goes, "Why don't you have one with me?" So I had my first cup of coffee with my dad. And I'm sure I'm not an exception. I'm actually more normal than not, you know. So to honor our dads, it's called Yaba Java, Daddy's Coffee, you know. Wow. It's that first cup we always had with Dad.
And I think that is so sweet and sentimental. You got me kind of tearing up here. Tell me about the cuisine, and as you're talking about the cuisine, we're going to show some pictures. You're specializing in kind of a fusion of Arab, Greek, and Italian food. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Well, Mediterranean in essence, and don't forget good old hamburgers. You know,
that's right.
You gotta have the burgers here. You know, we are in America, and we got to get some red meat in there.
Sure, and the coffee, of course.
Absolutely, our coffee is wonderful. We pride ourselves in having real good coffee, like you do here, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Know? Thank you. And we have a breakfast menu. Lunch, pizzas, flatbreads, soup, salads, burgers, you know. It's all made fresh. And we go out of our way to make it as authentic as humanly possible. So we go to ethnic stores, supply stores, and buy their ingredients to make sure that what we're doing is exactly what they do back home.
I love it.
Know? And I think we're having a great response from the community. They love it.
And you were telling me before the show that your mindset in running this is for it to be kind of like a Cheers, where people feel comfortable coming and hanging out. Is that right?
Absolutely, and that's a great way. It's a lot. I love that show, and it is a community place. You know, people come in, and I have people come in sometimes. They bring their own water. They use my internet, and they hang out, and they meet or study. One person brought from a neighboring restaurant a lunch with them. The others ordered from us and all this. I don't mind, you know, and this is part of a community thing, you know. You want to come and hang out, you're always welcome here.
Sure. And I know your staff is important to you. Tell us about your staff and what you look for when you bring somebody in.
Friendliness. You got to be friendly. I was telling you earlier, I made all my friends at that location, because I'm new to Texas and McKinney. So everybody I met out of that shop. And so it goes on to everybody, you know. So our social life is built around that place, and the wonderful people of McKinney and Allen and Frisco, they come and frequent our place, and we're just really enjoying it every day. It's a fun day.
I'm assuming it's a family business. Do you have, is your wife or kids involved?
Well, my wife is the boss, of course.
Okay, as in most homes.
Yes. And my daughter comes and works and helps, absolutely. And my son is a consumer only.
Okay. Hey, somebody's got to taste and sample and make sure that
He
the
gives us a
recipe.
thumbs up. We continue with the recipe.
That's awesome. Okay, so we've got about a minute left. I want you to look into the camera there on the left and just kind of give some final thoughts about the, your journey so far. You're still a young man.
Well, the journey is phenomenal, and the only journey I could talk about is me immigrating to America, and falling truly in love. It's like having a mom, dad, a wife, a son, a daughter. And I encourage everybody to take a moment and look at America through my eyes. I think you'll fall in love with it again.
That's a profound way to end this show. We're going to end with the website, which is yabajava.com. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Yeah, that's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.